In this video tutorial, I'm going to be showing you how to make this gorgeous vintage butterfly. And you're also going to learn how to create the French knot to create these little cute buttons of color. And I'll also show you how you can create this loop to hang your beautiful butterfly. You can use these as just decoration, or you can actually use them as hot pads, so you can set your hot pots on this to protect your countertops. What I love about this pattern is you can also have fun with different colors. So here, this is a variegated yarn, meaning that there's different colors in the yarn, and the one that I used for this butterfly was this gorgeous color. And this is 100% cotton. All of the yarn that I use on this, I'm using 100% cotton. You can use acrylic yarn, but you just have to be careful with the acrylic yarn, because if you set something too hot on it, then it can melt the acrylic yarn or create a sheen, whereas that won't happen with your 100% cotton yarn. On video tutorial, I'm not going to be using this color yarn. I'm going to use a solid orange colored yarn, but if you like this color, I got it from Hobby Lobby and it's called Brights. Here's some information on this yarn. On video tutorial, I'm going to be using this same colored yellow yarn. I love the way this yellow yarn looks against the other colors. And then also I'm going to be using the same blue too, because I just love that dark blue color. For this crochet project, you're going to need your 4mm crochet hook, your scissors, your tapestry needle, and your tapestry needle can either have a sharp end or a dull end, as long as the eye of the needle is large enough to fit the yarn through. The yarn that I'm going to be using is this gorgeous yellow colored yarn from Yarn Bee. Here's some information about this yarn. This is a canary yellow color. Gorgeous. I'm also using this gorgeous dark blue colored yarn from I Love This Cotton. And the color is deep teal. And here's some information about this yarn. And for this one on video tutorial, I'm going to be using a solid orange color from I Love This Cotton yarn. The actual color is glowing. And here's some information on this yarn. If you want to hang your butterflies, I found these D&D Darcy and David's roller rings. You get a set of 12, and you can see they're inexpensive. I got this from Hobby Lobby, and in my Hobby Lobby, this was near the yarn where they have some household goods. And this is what the ring actually looks like. So if you can find any ring would work. These were so inexpensive, that's why I picked these. And you just have to snap it together. And even though it has this broken part, I was still able to crochet around that. And then I'm just sewing that part to the butterfly, and so you have a nice hanging device. So these work great, and like I said, they're inexpensive. My butterfly measures approximately 9.5 inches across and approximately 8.5 inches in height. If you use a different sized crochet hook and or different style of yarn, it can affect the size of your finished butterfly. So go ahead and take whatever color yarn that you're going to start with. I'm starting with my canary yellow, and you just fold over the yarn to make a loop. Take your crochet hook, go through the loop, hold the base of the loop with your middle finger and your thumb, and then you just yarn over, turn the hook upside down and go through the loop for your slip knot. Go ahead and cinch that knot down. Then we're going to make a chain of 16. So you just yarn over, go through the loop for your first chain, second, third, fourth, fifth. Go ahead and make a chain of 16 and then come back. Now you should have your chain of 16, and we're going to make 2 single crochet into the second chain from the hook. So here is the first chain, here is the second chain. So you take your crochet hook, go into the second chain, and only go under one loop on the stitch. Then bring up a loop and make a single crochet. And then you're going to make a single crochet into the same stitch. Now you're going to make 1 single crochet into the next chain. Then you're going to make 1 half double crochet into each of the next 2 chains or stitches. So yarn over, go into the next chain, bring up a loop, and make your half double crochet. Yarn over, go into the next stitch, bring up a loop, make your half double crochet. Now you make 2 double crochet stitches into the next stitch. There's 1. And 2. And now you're going to make 1 double crochet into each of the next 5 stitches. Now you're going to make 2 double crochet into the next stitch. Then you're going to make 1 half double crochet into the next 2 stitches. And then 1 single crochet into the next stitch, and then that will leave you with 1 stitch remaining on the end, and you're going to make 3 single crochet into that stitch on the end. So you take your crochet hook, go into that stitch on the end, and you can fold the loose yarn end back because we're going to crochet around the loose yarn end to bury it. So here's my first single crochet. Second and third. And now we're going to work in the round. So now you have the opposite side facing up. We're going to be crocheting along the opposite side and burying the loose yarn end as we crochet. So now we're going to make a single crochet into the next stitch, and this time you're going to grab 2 loops. So you go into the next stitch and you can see the 2 loops. See those 2 loops? And then you're going underneath those 2 loops. You're going to go under the loose yarn end, bring up a loop for a single crochet. Then you're going to make 1 half double crochet into each of the next 2 stitches. So yarn over, go into the next stitch, go under the loose yarn end, bring up a loop, and make your half double crochet. Yarn over, go into the next stitch, under the loose yarn end, bring up a loop for a half double crochet, and then we're going to make 2 double crochet into the next stitch. There's 1 double crochet, and 2 double crochet. Now we're going to make 1 double crochet into each of the next 5 stitches. There's 3. Four. And 5. Now you can go ahead and cut that loose yarn end. Make sure you only cut the loose yarn end that you buried. Now we're going to make 2 double crochet into the next stitch. Then 1 half double crochet into the next 2 stitches. Now you're going to make 1 single crochet into next 2 stitches. There's 1 and 2. Then you're going to make a slip stitch into that first single crochet that we made. So go under both of those loops of the stitch. Yarn over, grab the yarn and bring it through both loops on the hook for a slip stitch. So now you're going to chain 1 and make 2 single crochet into the same stitch. So you go into the same stitch, bring up a loop, make a single crochet, make 1 more in the same stitch. Then you're going to make 1 single crochet in every stitch. So 1 single crochet in every stitch across until you get to the center stitch on the end. So I'm going to make a few with you. Just make 1 single crochet. You're grabbing both loops of the stitch. Make a single crochet. So 1 single crochet in every stitch across the top. So go ahead, finish making 1 single crochet in every stitch across the top until you get to the end stitch. So this stitch on the end, the center, and then come back. So now this is how my work looks. And then I reached the center stitch on the end. You're going to make 3 single crochet into that center stitch on the end. So there's 1, 2, 3. Then you're just going to resume 1 single crochet in every stitch back around to the beginning. Now you can see how my work looks. Then, after you make your last single crochet, you're going to make a slip stitch into that first single crochet that we made on the end. So just get your crochet hook under those 2 loops of that first single crochet, yarn over and bring the yarn through both loops on your hook for a slip stitch. Now we're going to bring in our blue colored yarn. So now just take your crochet hook and you're going to hook your blue yarn and bring it through the loop. Then just turn your work over and then tie a knot. And then you're going to cut the yellow yarn. Try to cut a little, leave it a longer loose yarn end because you're going to have to sew the pieces together. And so it helps that you have a long loose yarn end to sew with, so you have less to bury at the end. So now we have our blue colored yarn that we're going to crochet with. And we're going to bury the blue loose yarn end only. Don't bury the yellow. Then take your crochet hook, go into the next stitch, that first stitch, under the loose yarn end, and bring up a loop with the blue colored yarn to complete a single crochet. And you're going to make 1 single crochet into each of the next 5 stitches. There's 2, 3, 4, 5. Then make 2 single crochet into the next stitch. Then you're going to make 1 single crochet into each of the next 5 stitches. And then you can go ahead and cut your loose yarn end. Only cut the loose yarn end. Then you're going to make 2 single crochet into the next stitch. Then you're going to make 1 single crochet into each of the next 7 stitches. So I'm just going to make a couple with you. Here's 1, 2. So go ahead, make 1 single crochet into each of the next 7 stitches and then come back. Then make 3 single crochet into the next stitch. Then 1 single crochet into each of the next 5 stitches. Two single crochet into the next stitch. One single crochet into each of the next 5 stitches. Two single crochet into the next stitch. Then just make 1 single crochet into each of the next 8 stitches and then come back. So this is how your work should look right now. Then you're going to chain 1 and then turn your work. Then you're going to make 1 single crochet in every stitch across until you reach the end of the side. So 1 single crochet in every stitch until you reach the end of the side that you're working on. So you take your crochet hook, go into the next stitch and make your single crochet. So go ahead and make 1 single crochet in every stitch. Until you reach the end. And then come back. This is how my work looks so far. Then when you reach the end, you can make 3 single crochet into the same stitch on the end. So there's 1, 2, 3. Now you want to go back to where you started and you want to count back 1, 2, 3 stitches and then just put a stitch marker into that 3rd stitch If you don't have stitch markers, I recommend getting stitch markers, but if you don't have one, you can just take your crochet hook, grab a little bit of a loose yarn end and pull it through to mark the space. Then you're going to take and make one single crochet in every stitch until you reach your stitch marker. So one single crochet in every stitch until you reach your stitch marker, and then come back. So this is how my work looks. Then when you reach your stitch marker, you can go ahead and remove it. Then you're just going to slip stitch into that stitch. So take your crochet hook, go into that next stitch, yarn over, and bring the yarn through both loops on the hook for a slip stitch. So now we're going to bring in our orange colored yarn. So you're going to take and bring up a loop with the orange colored yarn, turn your work over. Then you're going to tie a knot. Then you're going to take and cut the blue, but you want to leave a long blue strand, about the same as what you left for the yellow, because then you can sew with that loose yarn end. So you're not burying a lot more loose yarn ends than you have to. So now you can crochet with your orange colored yarn. So you're going to chain one, turn your work, make a single crochet in the same stitch. So what you want to do is not bury the blue colored yarn, just leave that to the side. And you want to bury the orange loose yarn end. So you're going to take the orange loose yarn end and we're going to bury that as we crochet. That's one less loose yarn end that you have to bury later. So take your crochet hook, go into that same stitch, go behind the loose yarn end, bring up a loop with the orange colored yarn, make a single crochet, and actually you're going to drop that loose yarn end now, the orange one, and you'll just have to bury a little bit more later. Then you're going to chain one. You're going to skip a stitch and then make a single crochet into the next stitch, and you're going to do that 10 times. So there's one, chain one, skip the next stitch, make a single crochet into the next stitch for 2, chain one, skip the next stitch, make a single crochet into the next stitch for 3. So go ahead, finish this 10 times, chain one, skip a stitch, make a single crochet into the next stitch, and then come back. Now you're going to chain one, and then we're going to skip a stitch and then work down beneath the stitch for a long single crochet. Then you're going to chain 2 and then go into the same space then you're going to chain 1, then work into that next single crochet on the previous round. Then you're going to chain 1, then skip a stitch and make a single crochet into the next stitch, and repeat that pattern all the way to the end, and you can see the cute design on the wingtip. So then just continue all the way to the end here. You're just going to make a chain 1, skip a stitch and single crochet into the next stitch, and just keep repeating that back to the end. So for mine, I have approximately 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 on that end. So now we're going to change color. So you're going to pick up your yellow colored yarn, turn your work over, then tie a knot. And then you want to leave a long orange colored yarn, about the same as your previous colors for sewing, the orange portion. Then you're going to turn your work and we're going to crochet with the yellow colored yarn. So you're going to slip stitch. You're not going to bury the loose yarn end on this one. You're going to slip stitch into the first chain 1 space from the previous round. Then you're going to make a single crochet into the same chain 1 space. Then you're going to chain 2, 1, 2, and then single crochet into the same chain 1 space. And then you're going to repeat that pattern all the way around. Single crochet into the next chain 1 space from the previous round. So you're going in the space. Don't go into the blue. Go into this chain 1 space. Single crochet, chain 2, single crochet. And so what you're doing is you're creating these little shells, little yellow shells, with your single crochet, chain 2, single crochet in every chain 1 space until you reach the end and then come back. So single crochet, chain 1, single crochet in each chain 1 space all the way to the chain 2 space on the end, and then come back. So now this is how my work looks. You can see how beautiful the shells look. And then you reached the chain 2 space, and then you just create the same shell, go into that chain 2 space on the end, make a single crochet, chain 1, single crochet, and then you just continue on in the next chain 1 space, single crochet, chain 1, single crochet, and then you just keep repeating this pattern all the way to the end on the other side, and then come back. So now, after you finish your last shell with your yellow colored yarn, you're going to fasten off. So you just yarn over and then pull enough yarn through to sew, again, about the same as you did before for the other yarn ends. And then just cut it. So now you completed one of the upper wings, and we're going to make the other upper wing now. We are going to repeat row 1 and 2. So go ahead and get your yellow colored yarn, fold it over on itself, make your slip knot, and then you're going to chain 16 and then come back. Make 2 single crochet into the second chain from the hook. Make 1 single crochet into the next chain. Then 1/2 double crochet into the next 2 chains. Two double crochet into the next chain. Then 1 double crochet into the next 5 chains. 2 double crochet into the next chain. 1/2 double crochet into the next 2 chains, and 1 single crochet into the next chain. You should have 1 stitch left. Make 3 single crochet into that last stitch on the end. 1 single crochet into the next stitch, 1/2 double crochet into the next 2 stitches, and 2 double crochet into the next stitch, and then come back. Now you're going to make 1 double crochet into the next 5 stitches. Now make 2 double crochet into the next stitch, 1/2 double crochet into the next 2 stitches, and 1 single crochet into the next stitch. Then just single crochet into the next stitch. Then you're going to make a slip stitch into that first single crochet that we made. Just go under both of those loops of the stitch, yarn over and bring the yarn through both loops on the hook for a slip stitch. Now you're going to chain 1 and then create 2 single crochet into the same stitch. Then you're going to make 1 single crochet in every stitch until you reach the end. So 1 single crochet in every stitch until you reach the center stitch on the end, and then come back. Then you just make 3 single crochet into that end stitch, that center end stitch, and then you make 1 single crochet in every stitch back to the beginning, and then come back. Then when you reach the beginning, just make a slip stitch into that top first stitch that you made to complete that round. So now we're going to join our blue yarn, the blue colored yarn. Just turn it over and then tie a knot. Then you can cut your yellow colored yarn, and this time you don't have to leave a long sewing piece because you left it on the other side. So just leave enough to bury your loose yarn end. So now you're going to turn your work, and we're going to crochet back on the wrong side with the wrong side facing you. So take your crochet hook and then you're going to go into the same stitch, go behind your loose yarn ends, both loose yarn ends, bring up a loop for a single crochet. And then we're going to bury our loose yarn ends as we crochet. Now we're going to make one single crochet into each of the next 5 stitches. There's 1, 2, 2 single crochet into the next stitch, and then 1 single crochet into the next 5 stitches. Then 2 single crochet into the next stitch. Go ahead and cut your loose yarn ends. Now single crochet, 1 single crochet into each of the next 7 stitches, and then come back. Make 3 single crochet into the next stitch, and then come back. Make 1 single crochet into each of the next 5 stitches, and then 2 single crochet into the next stitch, and then come back. Then make 1 single crochet into each of the next 5 stitches, and then 2 single crochet into the next stitch, and then come back. This is how your work should look. Now you have 8 stitches left. Make 1 single crochet into each of those next 8 stitches, and then come back. Now you're going to chain 1, turn your work, then you're going to make 1 single crochet into the next stitch, and then 1 single crochet in every stitch until you reach the end, the center stitch on the end, and then come back. So now, once you've reached the end, you're going to make 3 single crochet into that center stitch on the end. Then you're going to take your stitch marker and you're going to go back to the end and count back 3 stitches. Then put your stitch marker into that 3rd stitch. Then you're going to continue making 1 single crochet in every stitch up to the stitch marker, and then come back. Then you can take and remove your stitch marker. Then make a slip stitch into your next stitch over. Now you can take and join your orange colored yarn. And then you'll cut your blue colored yarn. And this time you don't need to leave a long end for sewing because we did that with the other wing. So just a short loose yarn end to bury into the work. Then you're just going to turn your work. Then just move the loose yarn ends over to the side. Go into the same stitch. Go under the loose yarn ends, bring up a loop with the orange, and then make a single crochet. And then drop the loose yarn ends because we're just going to have to bury those. Then you're going to chain 1, skip a stitch, and make a single crochet into the next stitch. And then you're going to repeat that pattern, chain 1, skip a stitch, make a single crochet into the next stitch, and you're going to repeat that pattern all the way to the end and then come back. So for mine, I made approximately 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Then I reached the end. Now I'm going to chain 1, and then remember you're going to go down below the stitch. You're going to skip that stitch and just work right below that stitch, and then bring up, make a single crochet, chain 2, and then single crochet in the same space, and then kind of scoot it over, revealing that one stitch right there. Then you're just going to chain 1, work into that stitch for a single crochet, chain 1, skip a stitch, single crochet, repeat that pattern, chain 1, skip a stitch, single crochet, repeat that pattern all the way to the end, and then come back. So this is how my work looks. Then you can make a slip stitch into that last stitch where we joined. Not joined, but the last stitch on the end. Yarn over and then pull that yarn through for a slip stitch. Then we're going to join our yellow colored yarn. So you just take and loop the yellow colored yarn through, and then just tie a knot, and then you're going to cut the orange colored yarn. And again, you don't need to leave a long loose yarn end, just about the same length as the yellow. Then you're going to turn your work, and then you're just going to make a single crochet into that same stitch. So just go behind the loose yarn ends, go into that same stitch, and then you're going to bring up a loop with the yellow colored yarn going behind the loose yarn ends to make a single crochet, and then you're going to drop your loose yarn ends because we're going to work a shell into each of the chain 1 spaces. So you can see here's our first chain 1 space. So you're going to chain 1, and then you're going to go into that first chain 1 space, and you're going to make a single crochet, chain 2, single crochet into each of the chain 1 spaces. And remember, you're still going to make the same shell, single crochet, chain 2, single crochet in the 1 chain 2 space on the end. So go ahead, complete your yellow shells in each of the chain 1 and chain 2 spaces around, and then come back. So this is how my work looks. Looks gorgeous. Then you can take and fasten off, just yarn over and just pull enough yarn through to bury into your work. So we just finished the top right wing, and this is the top left wing that we made before. So these are the right sides of your work. Go ahead and move your left top wing to the side, and then you're going to take your top right wing, you're going to turn it over to the wrong side, and then we're going to bury our loose yarn ends. So now you just take your tapestry needle and take the loose yarn ends, and then you just kind of bury it. And I try to go near the same color. Since the orange is right here, I'm just going to go under the loops, And then you want to make sure you're not sewing into the front part of the design. So you only want to bury it into the back of the work. So I just kind of weave it in superficially along the back of the work to bury it. And the reason why you want to do this is because you don't want it close to where you tied the knot, because then it can come undone easier. So this just kind of buries it and keeps it from coming undone. So go ahead, bury all of your loose yarn ends, and then come back. So this is what the wrong side looks like after I buried my loose yarn ends. You can't even tell where I buried them. Then you just flip your work over. And now we're going to sew the two pieces together. So now you want to sew right in between here to sew these two wings together, and you're going to try to keep the same colored yarn, sewing the same colored area on the opposite side. So right now I have the right side up. I'm going to flip it so that I have the wrong sides together. And then I'm going to take my long ends that I left for sewing. And then you can see how I lined up the wings with each other. And I'm taking my yellow color first towards the top. And then you just want to take and sew the two pieces together. You can see how I'm trying to keep the yellow together as I sew. And then you just go back and forth, just sewing the yellow portion together. Then you can take and tie a knot. I like to go twice for the knot. Then you can take and bury the loose yarn end. So you just kind of weave it through the back. And then weave it through to bury it more. And then once it's buried, you can take and trim that loose yarn end. And you're going to sew each colored portion the same way. And this is what it looks like on the front. So you can see that you don't see any of the stitches. So go ahead and sew each portion just like I showed you, and then come back. So now I've sewed the two pieces together, and as you can see, the colors are matching with where I sewed. It looks really good. This is the wrong side. Then when I flip it over on the right side, you can see that it looks gorgeous. The wings are slightly upwards, which is what I want. And then don't worry about the center, because we're going to cover the center with the body. But it still looks pretty even without the body in the center that we're going to sew in there. So now I'm going to show you how to create French knots. So you're going to take your tapestry needle and put a long amount of whatever color you want for your French knots. I'm using my orange color for the French knots. And you can create as many French knots as you want along the center of the wing. So you're going to follow the center of the wing to create your French knots. So I have the right side facing up. Then you take your tapestry needle and you're going to come from underneath for your first French knot. So I'm going to create a French knot right in this area. So I'm going to take my tapestry needle, and you want to come up just to the right of the little hole there in the center. And then you just bring your yarn through, and you just want a little bit of yarn on the back side. Make sure it doesn't get tangled or twisted. So you just want enough yarn left over for burying into the back of your work. So then you take your needle, place it to the left of the yarn that came through the back, and then you're going to wrap the yarn around your needle 2 times. Then hold the yarn so it's close to the tapestry needle, and then you're going to go into the opposite side. Just grab a little bit of the yarn on the opposite side of the hole, and then you're going to bring the needle all the way through, and then slowly pull the yarn through to complete your French knot. Look how beautiful that is. Then you're going to create your next French knot. I'm just going to go up to about right there. But first, before you create your next French knot, turn your work over, and then you want to tie a knot with your loose yarn end. So you just take and tie a knot gently. Then you're ready to create your next French knot. So now take your tapestry needle, and you're going to go from the wrong side just to the right of the center hole, and you're going to bring the yarn all the way through. So don't leave any yarn on the back. And you can see how it created a straight line. Then turn your work over, bring your tapestry needle to the left of your yarn. Then you're going to take and wrap the yarn around the tapestry needle twice. Hold your tapestry needle and yarn just like this. And then you want to go on the opposite side here of the hole. Grab a little bit of the yarn with your tapestry needle. Then you can let go and gently pull the yarn through. Until it cinches down and forms your beautiful French knot. And that's how you make your French knots. So now you can just space your French knots all along the center here, and then come back. So now you can see my gorgeous French knots. I'm really happy I learned how to do those. I hope you enjoy making them too. They look so decorative on the butterfly. Then you can just turn over your work and gently tie a knot by going under the stitch but not to the front. So just under one of the orange stitches. And then just weave the yarn through. And I do that a couple times. And I do it under a couple stitches because I'm not going to bury the loose yarn end. I'm just tying multiple knots so it doesn't come undone. And then you can kind of weave through the orange knots that you created to bury the loose yarn end. And then just trim the yarn, and this is what it looks like on the back. You can take and twist the other loose yarn end and tie knots just the same way. So you just kind of go under here, and then you just kind of weave a knot. So here, I just kind of weave the yarn through, and then I'm just going to go through the knot. And then just trim it, making sure I don't ruin the gorgeous French knot on the front. So I'm just going to double check. Yep, the French knot looks good. And then you do the exact same thing on the other wing, and then come back. So this is what my upper wings look like with their French knots. Looks really gorgeous. So now we're going to make the two lower wings.